Hey everybody, let me introduce you to my little friend. What this is a Cattaraugus 225Q. See if I can get it in there. That's Cattaraugus 225Q. Let's go over the knife and then we'll look at it a little farther. Now, it's got a 6-inch 1095 high carbon blade. Yeah, there's a little rust around the guard. I had no chance to clean this up. This is a metal guard. In behind the metal guard, there's a brown Bakelite spacer here to push the stack of leather together. Now, these are stacked handles, and I read a couple of forums because I wanted to find out some information about this. These are stacked leather, and some people were asking why the wire cuts. They're not wire cuts. It was supposedly so they said that, you could stack it on a crate and wire it to this, and they were just stacked leather handles with the rings cut in them to promote better grip. But, so they are stacked leather. In the back, here's another little Bakelite ring. Now, the beauty of this knife is it's got a stacked leather or a stacked steel pommel. On the back of the pommel, it's waffled. And it's pinned in place like 4 different places. Now, that's the knife. It's, I believe it's 3/16 thick. And it's got a beautiful, beautiful belly for skinning and just general woods work. It will get cleaned up in the near future, but right now, it's just a review on it. I just picked this up at a trade. I absolutely love it. Completely dull. Took 5 minutes to get a razor sharp's edge on it. I just started cleaning it up a little bit. So, let me clear up some myths first. This wasn't a general issue knife, but during World War II, there wasn't a whole lot of cutlery around for the soldiers. So they pushed everything into production that they could. PAL 36s, what we know now is the K-bar knife, but it was actually a Marine fighting knife. Case, Remington, K-bar, Union cutlery, Utica cutlery, Cattaraugus knives, you name it. Everybody that could make a knife was, pushing knives. Now, Mr. Chapman, the guy who owned Cattaraugus at the time, he had one of these specially made for his kids that went over. He was in the quartermaster corps. So everybody thought this was the 225Q for quartermaster, and that's what it's commonly known as. The Cattaraugus, and Ontario and Case made him too, quartermaster. That's not what it was made for. This is just a knife design he came up with, and they put it in production as fast as they could pop out knives. All right. Now, the other fallacy that I found is that everybody, and my understanding was this was so you could pound nails back into a crate. This was a super strong knife developed for the quartermasters. You could pry crates open with it. There's not a knife in existence at that time that would pry a crate open. They had axes, they had crowbars, pry bars. So we'll give that up. This was probably meant to pound tent stakes because this was actually built as an outdoorsman knife. Pushed into service just like Marbell's. Marbell's had some of their ideal knives pushed into service with the Air Force and the Army. You could buy them, off ships, PXs, and especially these. Now, that's just some, fallacies, because I was always under the impression the Q meant for quartermasters too. This was not meant just for quartermasters. This was just a regular issue sportsman's knife that they beefed up for the war. The reason why this was on here is to pound tent stakes for this particular knife at the time. And, then it got the reputation for being able to pound nails and whatever. So, just some fallacy. I do not have the sheath with this, but the sheath was just a regular military leather, no weld, stitched together, rivets down the side so you didn't cut it, one retention strap type ordeal. This is This is the sheath I'm carrying it in now. This is one of my personalized leather sheaths, obviously. But this does hold a 6-inch bladed knife. And I got it home here, and it was a couple of different sheaths I went through. And let me get it where I can get it in there. There we go. And that held the blade perfectly. So I was like, hey, why not? I intend to use this knife this year for hunting. So, there was a few knives during World War II that just didn't claim the fame of the K-bar knife. The Collins Legitimus Bowie that the Marine Corps adopted, the Raider battalions, that didn't get the fanfare that it should have. It was later copied by Case and whatnot. And Case also made one of these. It's a 325Q. So, the Case did produce them for the war. Oddly enough, the Case brothers used to work for Cattaraugus before they opened Case Company Knives, which is Cattaraugus is in Cattaraugus County in New York, where Ontario knives are now. Now, but if you collect these knives, this is an old war knife. I like combat knives for any kind of bushcraft or anything like that. But if you collect these knives, there are a few out there, hunting knives and such. These knives are incredibly well built, super sharp edge retention knives. So if you get a chance to pick up one of their little hunters, or even this knife, which are quite expensive anymore, but if you get a chance to pick one up, you won't go wrong. So like I said, there is stacked handles. There's a leather, a steel guard, double steel pommel, which also balances the knife out to where your balance point is right there. Small fuller in it. It didn't save much metal, and no, they are not blood grooves. It was actually put in there just to save money, make the knife a little lighter. And yeah, but I mean, look at the shape of that blade. It's perfect for woodscrafting. So now, there's a couple of knives, like I said, that the Collins Legitimus, they didn't get much fanfare. The V42 Stiletto, Sykes Fairbairn, I can't pronounce it, knife. The Applegate Fairbairn knife, that didn't get much fanfare either, and that was a wider blade. That was a second issue to British Commando knives. But just on the American side, it was the Marbell's Ideal. This knife here, one from E.J. Waterman. That was an interesting knife, and it was probably the strongest of all knives produced for World War II and just never took off, because the Marine fighting knife was the deal that everybody wanted to get their hands on. That and probably the PAL 36 were the two most popular. But the Ideal knife was used in the Air Force in their survival kits and stuff. The E.J. Waterman knife was issued to some troops, just, when they were just handing out knives, trying to get as much that they could out to the troops. The E.J. Waterman, I hope to bring you a review on. It's an interesting little knife. It's even got a bottle opener built into the blade. But the Waterman is touted as being one of the strongest of all World War II knives, next to a bayonet. And you'll find on eBay there was a lot of trench knives when it came to war. But this is a little review of the Cattaraugus 225Q. Just wanted to bring it to you. Like I said, Cattaraugus made one phenomenal blade, including this one. Think about it. This knife is what, 70 years old? Somewhere in there. And outside of some pitting marks, which we'll be getting rid of soon. Handle's a little bit loose because the glue came out of the stacked leather. I mean, look at it. It's still got another, God knows how many years to go. It is a stick tang. It's not a full tang, but the tang on this knife starts here And here it doesn't go really narrow. It starts right by the handle and goes through, and that's where these two little buttons come from. It's split here to put this wedge in, and these two little buttons are the end of the tang. So you basically got a real full tang knife back to here. And that's why you see this welt here, the splits off, then it goes out to there. So, just a little history for you, a little look at a Quartermaster 225Q by Cattaraugus. So, hope you liked the video. I want to tell you I appreciate your time and your patience. And it's late tonight, I'm just fumbling through here. And we will see you guys on the next one.